real treasure near you, sitting in the woods waiting for you. One of you will find it in the next few weeks. We are Vail, and we create real-world treasure hunts. If you go to findvail.com, you will see a map which shows the active search area for each hunt. Every day, the circle gets smaller until X marks a spot. You're welcome to play for free, or you can pay to receive daily clues. The treasure is assigned a real value, and as people join the hunt, more and more money is added to the reward for a winner. For players who want a head start, Vail Edge will get you deeper insights and earlier access, giving you critical information before the circle even begins to shrink. As players join, the prize grows. More money, more players, more pressure. This isn't a hike. It's not a weekend game. This is a hunt. The treasure is sitting there, waiting for you now.
What's up, everybody?
Can everybody hear us okay? Let me know if that's any better now, and hopefully we're not getting the feedback that we had last time. 1 second, I just wanted to mute some stuff over here. There we go.
Oh, are you hearing Master and Sister on the stream, or?
You can mute them in. No, they're not on yet. Yeah, they're not on yet.
Okay, cool.
Can everybody hear us both?
And see us.
Yeah, can you? Well, they should be able to see us. You hear Jeff, not Paul. Damn, come on now.
I hear you coming through, but that's
yeah, but that's because you're hearing me somewhere else.
No problem if they can't.
Hang on 1 second. Tell them.
Looking on the other monitor here.
Oh, I hear both. Okay, Eric Lee says I hear both. Okay, perfect. We sound kind of alike, guys. All right. Did everybody have a great hunt? I know you all need some well-deserved rest after that near 20-day hunt. Everybody worked really, really hard, and we're really excited to get to talk to Master and his sister about their find in a little bit. But before we get to that, we had a little over 2,000 players between all of our free and our paid tiers, and we really just want to thank you guys. I mean, this has been incredible. We love every part of this, and it's been amazing. Being able to help foster such a community like this. We think it's just incredible, and we love keeping up the Discord constantly. And even if you guys think we aren't always paying attention, we always are. We'll get to some stuff about that in a little bit, but we really love spitballing ideas with you guys, and we love getting the photos. And it just it's truly overwhelming sometimes how we've been able to grow this, and we can't wait for what's next. We understand that this was our toughest hunt, probably by far. It required a lot of boots on the ground, but you guys went out in force, and I know there were dozens and dozens, if not even 100 people out there searching, and that was really incredible. Jeff, did you want to add anything to that?
The only thing I would say is that we view this as our toughest hunt and also our best hunt, and we're really encouraged and like excited to see how many of you were having fun out there at every single day, and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and even Sunday. Thankfully, the weather broke Saturday and Sunday, but it was really cool to see, even though it was a long hunt, that everybody was understanding the purpose. And the purpose for this hunt, it was designed to get people outdoors, which we'll talk about why we took that approach for this hunt as opposed to some of our past hunts where there was a little bit more legwork earlier on. Back to you.
And so real quick before we move on to our goals and the solves and everything, we want to talk about outside of Master and Assister, the people who probably benefited the most and were the biggest winners of this hunt had a little message to share with everybody. So here we go.
Hi, treasure hunters. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming to Hot Diggity Dog while you were here looking for your treasures. I hope you had a good time. I really enjoyed meeting some of you during your time here in Chatsworth. So you're always welcome in downtown Chatsworth, but I wanted to say thank you again for including me in your adventures. And whoever won, I hope you had the best time. I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you again from Hot Diggity Dog. We appreciate you.
Awesome. That's great. So a little bit about what we wanted to do, just like how it would be with any hunt. Our goal is to get people to go outdoors on adventures and to kind of.
There we go. Can you guys hear me now? Sorry about that. I was just saying that she was really nice. She loved hearing from you guys and talking to you guys about treasure and everything like that. And go back to her stand. She really appreciated your business.
Yeah.
All right, you're good.
So a little bit about what we tried to do here with all of our hunts, guys. The goal is to kind of break up the monotony of everyday life and to have a really, in our view, good excuse to get outdoors and go on an adventure. We know so many of you love exploring the outdoors as it is, and it's great that our hunt allows you to keep doing that. For us, we know that there are some people like us who sometimes benefit from that little bit of an extra push. So we're really glad that to be that push, and we're stoked that so many of you were able to capitalize on that. So many of you went out on an adventure on this one. It was also insane how many of you were running across one another in the middle of the woods. I can't imagine with Wharton, a forest as big as Wharton is, it's hard to conceive how people could just stumble upon one another in the middle of the woods, and then you just look at each other and instantly know that you're both out there for the same reason. Although I did see in the chat that one of you said that you were running into some people who had no idea what everybody was doing in the woods either, which is also cool. As far as the design of this hunt, we won't spend too much time on this, but we're always taking your feedback to heart. This is for every hunt. We're always learning from your preferences and what you guys want to see and don't want to see. And we know that one bit of feedback that we got on a few previous hunts was that some of the clues were a little bit hard to solve. I think back to like when we did Vale 1 and Watch Hunt, the straight line mission, Andrew H 2020 figured out that straight line, and he had it a few days actually before it was discovered, but he just couldn't get out there in time. But other than Andrew, I think there might have been one other person who was like, I solved it too, or at least within the close proximity of it. So we wanted to flip the script a little bit on this one, rather than having our solves lead you to a direct spot, a small spot where you can go and search. We wanted to do it in the opposite on this one. We wanted to have clues that were easier to solve, not easy, but easier to solve. And on the flip side of that, because we can't have the hunt end in after 6 or 7 days, that meant that we had to widen the areas that you were intended to search. So for us, that opened up a new part of the game, or really expanded a part of the game that really benefited those who got out there and did the exploring and put the work in. So that was the goal on the design of the hunt side of things. We're really happy that so many of you enjoyed that boots on the ground aspect. We love that people were picking up trash from balloons and also, like, I saw at least 3 pictures of people who wrote like Vale in the sand and had an arrow or an X, which was really funny. No, we did not do that. but it was it was just cool to see. As for our clues, as always, we want our clues to appeal to people with a variety of interests, and as a result, when we have three clue types, that means that some of you might not jive with one clue type, but everybody's going to find some common ground with some of the different types. So that was another one of our goals for this. We also, of course, want to always reduce the size of the circle with each of our clues so that you guys are able to eliminate search areas, and we really want to create a game out of the world around us, the past, the present, and the future. So for this one, we had a lot of history, a lot of alt history, which was a fun spin, and those really are hallmarks in our view of a Veil.
So a couple things we wanted to touch on too. Given that that Vorten is so huge, but when the circle gets small enough, there's not really a ton that we can pull from. I mean, there's a lot out there, but kind of as you close in, it becomes a pretty great distance between points. And so we kind of knew like certain people, like people cluster around certain locations, Carranza, and where the helicopter crash was, and a few other places, and so that's kind of where we kind of had to get creative into trying to find a way to keep the hunt lively and fun into the later stages. But you guys, like, some of your solves were just crazy. I mean, we love seeing them, and you guys were on top of it from the beginning, and we really love seeing how quickly you guys pare down to a location and make and it's definitely a fun part for a huge I can't speak. Jeff, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Wharton's huge, but when you think about that, there's a handful of like places where like common history happened, we knew that those handful of places would be searched like early on, and we can tell based on who was out and when. Like, it would have been, you guys would have found it like a week before it was actually found. With this hunt, like, well, very honest with you guys, we want these to go longer than 1 week because we want to get the rewards higher for you guys. We want to make sure that we can keep funding the hunt and keep it going. So our goal, the sweet spot for us, Paul and I were kind of on opposite ends of it a little bit. We thought on the early end it could be found day 12, 14. On the late end it could be found on day really 18, 19 is what we had thought. That's why we planned it the weekend around days 18 and 19. We knew that most people would be out on days 18 and 19. But it was designed in that way, but it's also very possible that it could have been found much sooner. Like, we know, Master had said in the chat earlier that he was in that exact same area within 100 or 200 feet of it 3 days prior to it being found. And we'll of course let him speak to that. So it's just trying our best to thread a needle that you can't like always fully thread, but it's just designing the game in a way that gives us the best chance at having it end in the sweet spot. We were on the tail end of that sweet spot. We had about an hour to go before that sweet spot.
We were almost at the end of it.
but we were in it. So we can talk about the.
So we had a couple, technical difficulties in the process here. Picking that location when we went out there, we were able to get consistent image uploads for quite up until 19 days into the hunt, and it was out there for a while before that.
I would say even before that, Paul, we had identified areas where we knew in quotes where there was cell coverage, and we plot these areas ahead of time. We work our clues through these points to make sure that we'll have viable clues. And yes, our clues aren't always 100% finished before the hunt starts, but we need to have that solid foundation there for most of them so that we can make sure that it works and we have options. So we planned all that out. We made sure that there was coverage in the areas we were going. We got out there. We did have 2 trail cams with 2 different providers to make sure that in our view, we thought we would be good no matter what. And then one of those providers was not totally forthright on there.
not even close. They lie on the coverage maps, guys. They lie.
They embellished their coverage map by quite a bit, we'll say. But then, unfortunately, the other one, it was fine.
Actually, that one said there was no coverage, but fine to a point because it wasn't fine in the long run. And ultimately, what happened, and I learned a lot about cell towers this hunt, but ultimately, what happened is when you have an area with a pretty fragile network, and the more people that head to that area, it prioritizes the areas that you're in. And so it shifted the cell network away from where the trail cam was, unfortunately. And so then it created some issues that we had a very difficult time solving. It was had a real long 24 hours. But we went through some escapades to get it back online. And it was
We
an extreme
accidentally made
adventure.
it worse.
Yeah, we made it worse. We made it worse. Yeah, we thought, oh, let's push the trail cam to 30-minute updates, and that actually overloaded it even more, which was a horrible idea. So then I had to get within a few miles of it. So I went and parked in on the road by Coran's and laid down in the backseat of the car. And I was trying to push through signal to the camera via pounding the network.
We don't want to go into too much information.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. Either way, so we tried our best. I'm sorry we had the technical difficulties. We will we know better now for the future to make sure that we have a consistently good signal, not just a signal.
Yeah, we'll learn from that one for sure. So for our clues, we've had riddles. We're at the point now where we've had enough hunts where we want to try to bring back 2 familiar clue types for each hunt. So we brought back riddles. We brought back glitches with a little bit of a spin. They were alternate history glitches. So these were places that did not exist, but they were planned to exist or could have existed if history had gone a different direction. We'll go into these in a little bit. And of course, we had compasses, which I acknowledge the name compass for a clue name is about as bad as it gets. And as we were finalizing that, I remember I was exhausted. I was like, whatever, it's just compass. I'm not. I don't have it in me to think of a fun name. I just want to hit print on these clues. So I've been laughing at myself for doing that for the last 3 weeks. But we'll go into those clues in a little bit. Before we do, Paul, if you would like to introduce our guests of honor.
Yeah, actually, I just want to take a minute here to just catch up on the chat. Jeff, do you have it on your phone going too, so you can see the chat, or no?
The chat? No, I don't.
Okay, so I just wanted to see, are you guys just 2 clones? Wait, are you just clones of 2 of the They Might Be Giants? Oh, interesting. I don't know. Do we look like the They Might Be Giants people?
What's They Might Be Giants? Is that a hunt?
No, it's a band, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
We're gonna have to look.
Yeah. So let's see. We had a couple people saying when you're bushwhacking and running headlong into someone going the opposite way, it's pretty obvious. Oh, I guess, yeah.
Dan wants to know where I'm at. Dan wants to know where I'm at on vacation. I'm not on vacation. This is also not my house.
This is a workcation he's on. Yeah.
I wish I was on vacation.
Let's see. Watch them placed by Friendship Monument because they want everybody to be friends. That is a deeper level thinking than we had for that one.
Several people early on in the hunt said that they found that Pope Creek or something and thought that we would put it there, and the irony in that would have been so sick that we're like, no, we're not putting it Pope Creek.
Who was the one who kept drawing on in the sand the veil signs? I thought that was awesome. We did not do that. I had several people ask if we did that, and there were arrows. I guess people were doing a little bit of deception going on.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else?
I know a lot of you want to get to the clues, so we're gonna go.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yep. Sister one, and then we'll go through each clue and what it was.
And Miko just asked, are we planning on doing more hard? Well, we'll get to this in a little bit. More harder / longer hunts in the future, which we are. We'll get into it more in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's. We're going to bring in Master in just a second here.
And sister.
And his sister, I'm sorry. And real quick, so last night after they found the trail cam, it was like I wanted to meet up with them to go get the trail cam from them. And we spent an hour talking about how much work went into it. And it's truly incredible, the level. And you'll hear from him in a minute. It's incredible the level that he went to try and to find it and ultimately win it. But real quick, before we get into that, this is the video of him walking up to the trail cam site.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, it's real time.
23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33.
Take the balloon out. Take the fucking...
Happy birthday!
Oh, they found the balloon.
Yeah, they found the balloon. Yeah.
Oh my God,
And
that
so
is
I'm gonna
awesome.
go ahead and unmute Master and his sister, and we lost somebody, I believe. One second, guys. Are you guys still there? Oh, I have one. Who do I have here? I think we have Master Sister. Let me get Master back online. Bear with us for 1 second, guys.
I can hear you now.
Okay, hang on here.
Sister.
Hi.
I'm
Where
just
are
trying
you,
to.
brother?
Are you with your brother by any chance?
No, we had a split finally this morning. We crashed and then split. Back to
Yeah.
real life.
That's-
Okay, I think
that's
I have
okay.
him on now. Maybe Master, can you talk to? Oh, I see. He might be trying from another device.
Hey, there you are.
1 second. I
Hi,
just got to get
brother.
you live onto the stream, Master. Hang on. And let's see. Can you try speaking for me?
Speaking.
All right, there we go. We have you on stream now. All right. So Master, we know you guys put in a ton of work. You know, we would just love to hear a little bit about like what your thought process was, and also I know you participated in past hunts too. So if you just want to set up your Vail journey for us.
Sure, why not? It started with the first one. Me and my family, we went up to Wachang, and as we were driving up there, it started raining a little bit, and then in the camera it got a little wet, so we knew we were at the right park. And there was a sign with a solar eclipse there, and my son, he said, "Dad, we're at the right park." So he knew we were at the right park. I knew we were at the right park, but so I went and dropped them off because it was late, and I drove all the way back the next day, and then searched for a little bit, but for some reason I went to go help somebody else out and look somewhere else, and to find out I parked 0.1 mile away from where it was. I left. I had a chip on my shoulder for sure, and absolutely nothing against Pope. He's a long walker, but same with Evansburg. Evansburg, I was right in between Evansburg and what was that park right below it?
It was the
Valley Forge?
Valley Forge. Yep.
Yeah, right in there. I could just never get out there to get to it. I guess that's not an excuse considering I put in so many hours for this one.
Yeah, so let's talk about this hunt a little bit. So
Yeah.
where did your journey begin? I saw some of the screenshots you posted of your route that you took and how many miles you put on your car, and so let's just get into that a little bit for us.
All right, so initially I started up north because I could only find a pipeline project that ran through like Lakehurst and the Lakehurst and Manchester area. So I started up in Whitesbog and worked my way down to Brendan T. And then when the Cedar Grove clue came out, I started searching every Cedar Grove in South Jersey. And then I really didn't go out until I guess clue 7 and 8 when the Jersey Devil one with the skinny pine trees. So then I would literally just drive around till I saw a grouping of skinny pine trees and just started walking.
That is awesome. That if that's not dedication, my God, like you're really limited clue information at that point. Sure, it's enough to know that like you're generally in the Pinelands, but that's awesome that you wanted it that badly to just say, you know what, I'm just going to go and look because that's the only way that you're going to find it. You know.
Yes.
So when did you feel like over the last few days of the hunt that you were starting to get close?
I guess it would be when there was 6 days left. I wound up in right over Quaker Bridge to the left by the fire, and there was a spot in there that was like I had a lot of fire breaks and those skinny pine trees. So I just started walking around trying to figure out where it could possibly be, and then the day it stormed, I was driving. That was when I drove that triangle around the treasure 3 times, and I would take screenshots and I would circle the area to go back and check the next day, and so I eventually got to that spot, but 3 days later. So
what
Yeah.
what led you then to the video where you're running toward it? What led you to that moment? What made you think, oh my God, I might like be there in the area right now?
Mosquitoes
it was partially the mosquitoes, because where I was hiking
and goosebumps.
Well, did
It
you
was,
you guys came along? You guys came along. Something you recognized from the glitch, correct?
Absolutely, it was the oak tree in the background with the branch sticking out of it, because there was only one oak tree, I think, in the background, and it was that and one oak to the left of the. We were just calling them the skinny pines, because we got to find a row of skinny pine trees. That's it. We just
Skinny
gotta find
minis and skinny talls.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had mentioned you were hiking the fire trails. Did you do that because of what you had seen in that clue, thinking that it might be on a fire trail?
Yeah, just because of seeing them while driving around, and also knowing that based on where the sun was hitting the camera and the direction that you guys were taking the pictures backwards, that trail had to be facing north and south, and the only trails facing north and south were basically all of the fire breaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So was that
valid
did your
strategy.
search then? Did your search then turn into I'm just going to hike the fire breaks rather than just grid search open land?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's mainly where all the saplings and the little trees were growing out of. Because I guess if the pine cones would fall and the rain would push them up against the edge, possibly, and then I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
That's all. That's only where I could really find them.
So I think I've got one more question. What was the moment like for the two of you when you thought, wait a second, is this like, what did you see, and what was your can you describe to us how you felt and what was running through your head when you realized, like, oh no, I think I actually am here?
Yeah, I blacked out, and then
Yup.
the
Yes,
hair definitely stood up on the back of my neck, and I took off like a gazelle, just sprinting towards somewhere. I was like, it's that way. I got to run that way. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Until I found the big tree.
Yeah.
Until I found
The
big
down tree, yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you want to just talk about the what could have been with Nick a couple days earlier?
Oh yeah. Well, there was this day, because that morning I had to finish grid searching all the fire trails that were. I'll share some more photos too later after this, where I walked in the fire trails, but I had to finish it. I couldn't leave that spot not knowing it could be there if I had just keep walking. So, and then my sister actually was driving. She came to meet me that morning, and she said, there's about 30 people over there by Carranza Memorial. And I was like, I couldn't line up the last clue with the cannonballs. I couldn't line it up to reach the treasure. And I was like, I'm not going to move it to make it go up there. But what I did was, why I knew I could be up there is because before we got that big rainstorm, it actually rained like in between 2 and 3. So I took a screenshot of 5-minute intervals on the radar, and then I overlaid it with the All Trails app, and that spot was covered in dark green. And I was like, so it could be over there. I could just be making a mistake. And then so I was like, you know what? Let's just go cut everybody off before, because they were going to make it up that way the next day. I was like, before the night ends, let's just go up to Tuckerton, because I know I saw a spot there that we could check. And we went over there. We walked down one fire trail. I was like, over there to the left looks good. So we went back out and then went down the next one. And then that's when the correct row of skinny pines finally.
And even days prior to that, you had told TMF Nick to go look that way, and he didn't do it.
Nope, he did not. I think
He threw a water bottle. He said, "Find the water bottle and go that way."
So that morning I was over by the Batana, by the Hawkins Bridge in Lower Forge, and then I went over there real quick to check it out again, and then I liked the one trail. I threw a water bottle at it. I texted Nick. I said, "Yo, go check out this trail right now." And between the crappy service and not knowing, I guess, not being able to make it there, but so
yeah,
wasn't
That's
meant to
what
be.
led to
We
that.
wouldn't have gotten your amazing video of you running up, which I can't see the audio on it. So when we're done here, like I can't wait to go watch this back so I can hear the audio on your video. That is so cool. Well, Master and Sister, thank you guys so much for joining us here. You're welcome to hang around for a Q&A at the end. We're going to go through our solves here now, so that I know that everybody wants to know what daydream meant and a few other things too. So we'll run through that now. And then we just want to say thank you guys so much for doing this and for really enjoying it, getting to go on a 2025 adventure, and congratulations too on your reward.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I appreciate it as well.
Thank you.
All right, so Paul, we'll hop into clues. The way we're going to run this, I think, is Paul has the clue graphics up on his screen, and I've got Google Earth and the circle data, so we'll toggle back and forth in between them for you guys. And hopefully it's seamless.
Theoretically, this is going to work fine. But
So this is our starting circle here. So this was the pre-sale circle, and then of course on day one.
Is that it? Oh wait, there you go. Yeah, you're good. We're good.
Yep. Yeah. So this is our the pre-sale circle, and then of course on day one we had the first riddle, Paul. Which if you want to just toggle back and forth between them.
Yes. 1 second. I was just checking the echo. Okay, sorry. Toggle on my screen. You said. Here's the riddle.
Yep.
And so it's Vale rests in the clear in range of Pitch Pine.
And then back, you can just feel free.
Yeah,
to
I got it. You're good.
Here. Cool. So then we've got our day one circle for paid users, and Pitch Pine. What we did is we found the range of Pitch Pine. This is a source that is available in a few places. They're ultimately government sources that validated this exact map as well. I think this one might have been from Wikipedia, but we confirmed that this is a real thing. So we brought that in, and that of course eliminated some areas around the fringe. We're on day one, so we're not eliminating a huge chunk, obviously. And that brought us to day two. You can see how the circle closes here, and Paul pulled the graphic up.
Yep. So this is our first glitch. It's the one of the pipeline.
Yeah, so the pipeline here, this harkens back to the days of Joseph Wharton when he bought all of this land. Part of the reason for the purchase of this land is that he wanted to dam up the rivers in Wharton State in Wharton State Forest, because it's the land that he bought, but it obviously would have ramifications beyond that. He wanted to create reservoirs and create pipelines and aqueducts to channel that water to Philadelphia. And famously, the New Jersey State Legislature, who had already approved plans to do that for New York City, they said, we're not going to be tapped at both ends because we're just draining the state and the resources from the people around. So this was this glitch referenced, had that plan. Had the legislature let it pass, there would have been pipelines sending our water, the Vale 3 water, over or under the river to Pennsylvania.
All right.
Then we
good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just going to do the circle, and then we go to see the circle close for the next day here.
Yep, you're on.
So in day three, this clue, Paul, if you want to show your screen there.
Yep.
This is the shipwreck.
Shipwreck clue.
The shipwreck here is.
It's delayed on your screen, Jeff. Yeah, it's delayed. You just started speaking. I'm on time.
Yep. So the shipwreck here is the SS Oregon. So you can see in the graphic here, yes, we did have to update it because I had continued the mast beyond the we showed the wrong type of mast there. So we erased that little bit. There was with all these clues, it's a lot of AI and Photoshop, and I know that AI could have the connotation of it, not being accurate, and that happens all the time. We never get the images that we want with AI. We then bring them into Photoshop, and it takes literally hours to recreate them so that they're accurate. And that was certainly a miss on my part, but we know that a bunch of you still identified that correctly as the right ship, and we fixed that evening. So on my screen here, as Paul switches back, you'll see that we have the pin for the SS Oregon, and in the Veil Finder, we knew that this was in a wide range, but it cut the circle in half. Basically, it was the bottom half of this circle here, and we do have the Veil Finder overlays from the tool here that we'll show you too. Then the circle closed again onto day 4, and Paul, if you want to read the clue out for that one, this one had to do with the caps melt.
Drowned in the sea when the caps melt in time.
Right. So here we've got an overlay. There's a tool. I think it was a NOAA tool. That showed what would happen if Antarctica melted and what would happen if the Arctic melted, and ultimately equated to 70 meters of sea level rise. So I had actually plotted out. I'm going to turn off the pitch pine now because we've seen that. Plotted out what that sea level rise would be. This actually was the 63 meters of rise, and then there's another 7 meters of rise. So it actually encroached a little bit beyond this, but that clue would have gotten you to really eliminate 3/4 of the land area in the circle, which was pretty significant for early on in the hunt. And then that circle shrunk again onto day 5, which was our next glitch.
And here we go. And so here we go. We have the alt glitch of the Jersey Central train line, Jeff.
Yep. So the Jersey Central train line, this was a train line that ran through the entirety of Wharton State Forest. It connected, I think, Winslow from Winslow Junction area up through Brennan Burn, and there were a bunch of offshoots there. This train line went defunct at some point in the 1900s. I forget the exact date. We knew, obviously, when we were putting this together. But it did, in its heyday, it ferried passengers. It was a passenger line. You just wonder, after seeing old historical railroad maps of New Jersey and southern New Jersey, you just wonder what could have been in seeing a rail network that was like so. It's almost like the rail network that you dream about now in 2025, but like you can't imagine doing. So we had that at one point, and it's just no longer here. And then the next clue is the Veil Finder clue on day number 6.
Yep, and I just was reading the chat. They were talking about how to we you're right. Part of this, it should be pretty difficult to be able to figure out all the clues, and like we put a lot of time and effort into making sure that they're good clues, but also like challenging to and require some sleuthing and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Jeff, but
yeah, how do our players know that? How can our players know that they're right? Yeah, you're going to have dozens of parks that had a train running through them early in the hunt. That's the idea, is that each one of these clues builds on the ones before, so that by the time you're midway through the hunt, there are dozens of parks that had a railroad. There are dozens of parks that had a pipeline. But how many parks had both a railroad and a pipeline? And whatever one of the next ones was, and the Jersey Devil, and all these other things, it really whittles it down throughout the course of the hunt. So our goal with these hunts isn't to tell you on day 3, hey guys, it's in this park. The goal is to, through research and learning and history and exploring the world around us, to figure out which parks it can't be and eliminate these are areas where it can't be, and maybe I still have 5 parks that it can be in, and the hundreds of you that are doing this and can go out and start exploring. If we give away too much too soon, then the hunt would be over pretty quickly, and I don't think anybody wants it to be over, in the first couple of days, So that's the balance. We're always trying to make sure that we get a good length of hunt, and people have fun with researching the clues. It's a balance.
And just to add on that too, so even though the 3 different clue types don't directly impact each other, you should be using all 3 clue types to verify your location and whittle stuff down. And we know from people sending us their solves and monitoring the Discord that a lot of people did get the right solve on it. So we know it's possible.
Yeah, yeah, and like no one's going to get all 21 clues correct, but people are going to get 15, 16, 17 of them, and other people will get a different 15 or 16 or 17 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back to the image, the graphic there,
yep.
Paul, we have the shipwreck at Turtle Gut. So this was the battle of Turtle Gut, I think was the name. I actually forget what the actual official name of the battle was. But this battle happened at Turtle Gut in Wildwood. So I'll turn that on here, and you can see we had the Veilfinder tool on.
Hang on, this deserves a good explanation behind what is happening here, because I feel like a lot of people who didn't have the clue want to know.
Sure, yeah. So if you want to go back to the image, we can zoom into the graphic there. We can look at that.
Yeah, zoom in isn't going to be a thing, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So in the image here, so this is a British ship that you can see in the background in the right there. We have American ships in the background on the left, and the ship that is beached here was actually an American ship in 77. Don't hold me to it, but it was right around then. So this is a ship that ran aground. The Delaware Bay was being patrolled by the British, and the Americans were trying to navigate the waters around there and trying to run from these British ships, and the ship ran aground. So what happened was the little rowboat that you can see that had pulled up to the ship that exploded, that was a small boat of 7, I think.
I believe it was 9. It was 9 British soldiers.
British soldiers who had departed from the bigger ship that was out at sea, and they had come to this ship to kind of commandeer it after it had run aground. But the Americans had abandoned the ship, and the reason why this happened is the ship ran aground. The captain on the American ship said, "All right, let's get all of our gunpowder and our provisions and everything. Let's get that on the shore." So you can see people in the bottom left-hand corner of the image there, ferrying things and crates of and barrels of gunpowder to shore. And then the last person, or one of the last people in the image, is carrying a flag. So the British saw that we had taken the flag down and thought that we were surrendering the ship and just fleeing. But what we had actually done is we booby-trapped the ship. We were going to blow the ship up. So this happened, and in a moment we'll switch back to another image here. But this happened right in Wildwood and Turtle Gut, so a place where people go to the beach now all the time. If you can imagine, there was once a huge, double-masted ship that was right there on the beach, and it exploded. We blew it up, and the 7 British soldiers actually died in the explosion because they didn't know, obviously, that it was booby trapped. So it was a really spectacular event that happened, and the reports of it claimed that for miles and miles and miles, people heard the explosion and glass broke, and it was just an absolutely massive explosion that was just imagine had something like that happen today. So we wanted to recreate that scene in a way that it could only have been this location. We know a number of people found one other shipwreck that it also could have applied to, but we also know that there were differences where once you read through that, I think there weren't that many of these instances of a ship being, beached and blowing up like that. And the way that this clue was oriented, you can see with the Veilfinder tool as well. I know there was a bunch of question and speculation about what the top of the clue meant. Our goal with the Veilfinder here was that you never need the little bars at the top of the Veilfinder to solve the clue, but it's a nice way to confirm that you were right. So that's why we intentionally left some ambiguity with that one, because we thought we don't want to give literally everything with this. We want people to find part of the game in trying to figure that out. So that clue up top, the center line, is irrelevant of what else the Veilfinder shows. That center line is lit when you are facing north, and the other lines are if you're off of north by 22.5 degrees, 45 degrees, 30, losing my ability to do math, and then 90 degrees. So that's what the other tick marks were, is how many degrees off of true north you were actually oriented in the image. But you wouldn't need that to solve it. You could find that this was Turtle Gut, and you could place the Veilfinder there. It would not have negatively impacted your chance to do that. It would have been more of a confirmation, and that'll actually come in more handy a little bit later. So on my screen now, you can see with the Veil Finder tool, when that's placed over Turtle Gut in Wildwood, you can see we have the location here, and we show it inland. And why do we show it inland? Because we had historical maps that we overlaid over Cape May, and you could see that a lot of this beach was reclaimed beach, so it didn't used to look like this back in the day. So this is within a few hundred feet the location of where that actually happened. So then you bring that in, and you can see, okay, now all of these areas that are in range of the Veil Finder tool or where it happened, and obviously our park here in Wharton is entirely within that. So then after this clue, our next clue is a riddle. You can see here where the circle shrinks down to, and then Paul, if you want to read the riddle.
Yep, 1 second. All right, near Atlantic White Cedar in patches and groves.
Yes, Atlantic White
Everybody's
Cedar.
gonna love the white cedar.
Yeah, so Atlantic White Cedar. So this is a specific species of tree here, sometimes called false cypress. It had other names, but you can see here when you overlay the range for Atlantic White Cedar, these are the areas where it exists. So again, we're limiting, reducing the area, the searchable area. And if we go back to when, if I turn a few of these things off, you can see in yellow we have cap melt here. We have our Veil Finder tool, which extends even further. When you turn Atlantic White Cedar on, it reduces that area even more. So we know we're not in these parts of Maryland or Delaware here. We know we're not in central Jersey here. We're dialing it back further. And remember that the flooding from the cap melt previously actually extended out to like King of Prussia and up here, if I had shown the polygon in its entirety. So we're reducing that area further with each clue. And then we go into day 8, which is the next glitch. Which was the next glitch? The Jersey Devil?
This is a Jersey Devil, yep.
Yeah, so the Jersey Devil had to represent JD. He's haunted us since we were kids, and there's no way we're ever going to do a hunt without without including the Jersey Devil. And the reason why the Jersey Devil is a glitch, because we debated this for a while. Does this make sense as an alt history glitch? It does, because in the research that we did, we found in 1908, 1909, somewhere around then, there was actually like a craze of false Jersey Devil sightings. They closed schools in South Jersey. People went out in hunting parties expecting to find and kill the Jersey Devil. And this is like a very real thing that happened, like a la War of the Worlds, which would have happened, 30 or so years later, when people thought that aliens were attacking whatever that town was in central Jersey. This was like it totally took South Jersey by storm. They closed the schools. It was crazy. It was crazy that happened. So this is the alternate history where people expected this to happen. They thought they were going out in the woods with their literal pitchforks and guns to find what we see in the image there. And then after the Jersey Devil clue, we go to our next Veil Finder clue on day 9. And here's the day 9 circle. It shrunk somewhat evenly. And this is the factory explosion. So the factory, there is some debate as to which explosion this was. I'm going to turn off a few layers here. Paul, if you want to pull the image up of that graphic while I'm doing so.
Yep. A lot of people also had... oh, wait. There we go. A lot of people also thought it was the plane crash, but even if you had the plane crash, you weren't that far off on the Veil Finder, to be honest.
Right. So this is the plane crash, and we thought about that too, and we thought, well, it's very clearly not the plane crash, and we'll explain why in a second. But it's justifiably, I should say, not the plane crash, and we'll explain why. But this is a view of the SPS factory explosion. If you want to switch back to my screen here, Paul, as I zoom in, we'll see where that wedge is. But the SPS factory exploded several days after the Eagles won the Super Bowl this year. So that's why we have the green light and the champs banner. There were all sorts of helicopters flying over. We know the wind direction on that day, that the county and the state, resources posted where the wind was and where the smoke was blowing. We know that where this happened, if you look due east, if this is where those tick marks come into play at the top there. If you look due east, you can see there are a string of north-south directly facing streets. So there's 4, 5, maybe 6 blocks of north-south streets. So this is how you would know with certainty that this is the SPS factory explosion. If you go over to where the plane crash site was, which we'll bring you to here in Northeast Philly, it actually was in this. Where's the Raising Cane's? I think it's actually right here. One of these
Is it
intersections.
back open?
That's
Yeah,
actually
it's
it was
open.
right. It was right here where my cursor is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it crashed here. If you follow the wind direction or the orientation at the top of the veil finder, you'll see there are not any north-south facing streets. So this one wouldn't have eliminated you from the area. It wasn't going to kill anybody who had thought it was there versus in another location. But it was just interesting. Also, like super important too, the weather in the clues is extremely accurate. We had it was crystal clear skies the night of the SPS factory explosion. When the plane crashed, it was pouring rain. It wasn't pouring rain. It was raining, and that was one of the factors they think that could have led to part of the demise of that flight.
Although,
so we did not.
Jeff,
Yeah.
Would Neil deGrasse Tyson approve of your sky? Is the real question.
The sky. I thought about that. I thought, oh my god, am I really gonna look up what the sky exactly was on this night? And then our clues say approximate, and like there was no doubt. The goal is that there's no doubt that what you're looking at is what it was, and that's what we held ourselves to for that.
All right. So oh, sorry, good.
So then the next clue here. So I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to turn back on the turtle gut, so you can see where the veil finder clues are starting to overlay. These aren't the exact ones that we sent you guys because I rounded them off so they were all consistent in the ones that we sent you. But the areas, it's the same areas. This is the areas that are overlapping, so we know that it's somewhere in this darker orange area now. And then we turn on the next circle, which is day 10. This is the Lawrence line. So if you want to read that
Lawrence
one,
is
Paul.
left when toward Walpake he strode.
Yeah, so this is the Quinta. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the Quinta Partile. I'm butchering it, but this is basically it was a land dispute between East and West Jersey. There was this very point here, which was established by whichever the King of England, I guess, back at one point. There were 4 different surveys done to delineate East and West Jersey, and based on that, who was getting the land that the king was issuing, who was getting it. Wasn't his land to give. But if you follow the line here, this line on the Lawrence line is one of the 4 survey lines, and it ran right through Walpack, which back in the 1700s when the line was drawn, it was called Walpake, which was the Native American term for that land there. So that was the clue there, and those lines all originated in the same location here along the coast.
Just a couple questions I just want to field real quick. Somebody was asking if the houses were fictional for the row homes by the fire.
They were a Google Maps inspired AIification of the homes that were in those neighborhoods there. So then they were. They're not exact photos of people's homes. Like we couldn't do that, but it was that you would have gotten the gist.
And then somebody asked, is where things are located accurate to, like the NJ train being on your right at an angle and the cannonball boat heading west from the mill? The boat one threw me off. Okay.
So for the glitch images, those just represented a place in the approximate location. So our goal with those is to get you to the park. We will refine that wording to make it clearer in future clues that this is meant to get you to the park. Our terminology that we used was the approximate location, but they are not. And it says so in the clue guide. That is not getting you to any proper orientation or anything. It's just a clue. Hey, this could have been a passenger train running through the park. Which parks could that have happened in? It wasn't going to happen in Bass River or Penn Forest, but it did happen in Wharton, just based on what we know from historic railroad maps. But for other clues, like the clue when we get to the cannonballs, like yes, that was the proper orientation and the proper location of the buildings and the way that those looked, and that was all very faithfully recreated.
All right, so then after that, you want to do
clue 11?
Yep, do your circle.
Circle's up.
There we go. And clue 11, we have the jet port.
The jet port, yeah. So yeah, crazy, insane. I don't know how we grew up
Never heard of it.
We grew up not that far from Wharton and like had never ever heard of the jet port. So apparently there were plans to build a jet port, which is more than an airport. It was like 4 airport runways creating like a square almost. That were long enough for Concords. This is back when they thought
they were bi-directional too, so it was really 8 runways.
Yeah, it was crazy. This is back when they thought that supersonic air travel was going to be the way of the future, and obviously, like Concords aren't a thing anymore, and it just wasn't an efficient way to travel. But to go with that jetport, they also planned a massive like city of tomorrow. The only way that I can describe it is like, for any of you who are people mover fans like me, it's like what Walt had envisioned as Epcot, but they wanted that in, and they were actually inspired by Walt's vision for Epcot, but they wanted to build that in South Jersey, closer to
city of 500,000.
See if it was a little bit closer to the coast and by Brennan T. Byrne and some of these coastal parks, but it was it would have been insane. And what it did do, the one thing that it actually did accomplish is that it galvanized support for protection of the parks in the Pinelands. So everybody got together and said, nope, definitely not. We're going to protect these for the rest of time. And that was the best possible outcome there. But it's crazy to think that there could have been a massive city in like where there's currently, what's over here? Is this like, I've never even heard of some of these places. I've never heard of Manchester, but like over there, there could have been a massive, 500,000 person city. Right. And then I'll close for our circle on the next day, next clue. And this one was the Veil Finder for what on day 12, Paul?
We have, the missile, the explosion at the base.
The Beaumark, right? So okay, so then back. This is actually again proper orientation. You can see these buildings are still here for reasons that we'll go in a minute. But I'll turn on the Veil Finder tool here, and we'll zoom into the location. Oh wow, right on the Lawrence line. Look at that. Lawrence was there before they even before the missile blew up. This was an active nuclear tipped Beaumark missile. There was nuclear bomb on this missile, and it caught on fire when the helium tank exploded back in the 60s. I forget what the date was, but it exploded and it leaked plutonium all over the place. So they had to abandon this facility. But the orientation of these, we found photos of the insides of these, so we recreated what that would have looked like inside that space. And they abandoned it. And back at the time when this happened, it was nothing more than like a bottom corner, blurb that this incident happened and they closed it down or whatever. But the result of it was there was plutonium that had leaked all over and infiltrated the water, and it was actually like a way bigger deal. But the I don't know, the government, whoever, swept it under the rug, and it wasn't seen as a thing at the time. But these buildings are all still here, and
the hangar's encased in concrete, right?
Yeah, there's something over there. I don't know if it's the hangar or what it is encased in concrete. Pretty crazy stuff. Again, never heard of that one growing up. And then we go to our next clue, which is day 13. So we've turned the circle on here. If you want to read that one, Paul.
This is the big one. All right, 1 second. Higher than Daydream is tall, but below Tacony's top.
Yeah, so remember,
everybody's been waiting for this one.
Yeah, so we are still in the circle on day. Everything in these clues relates to what's in the circle. So we look over here. We go to the Trenton area. Daydream is the famous sculpture in Grounds for Sculpture. That sculpture, if you go on the website, it lists the height of the sculpture. So I know some people wondered is it the elevation? Is it whatever? We just said how tall the sculpture is. In our thinking, if you're there looking at it, here's how tall it is. So we pulled the number from the site. Similarly, there is a resource which I actually think I have and can pull up here, potentially. Oh, don't want to do that.
Yeah, don't cancel that.
Yeah, I'll just pull up bookmarks here for Veil. You guys are seeing all my bookmarks. Other bookmarks, Veil 3. So we had, this is for topography. Sorry, 1 second, guys.
Again, the inner workings of all your stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to clean up my bookmarks. I don't know what any of this stuff even is. So Daydream. So we found Daydream's dimensions on the park's site. Of course, Stuart Johnson did like not most, but a lot of the artwork in that park. And there's the sculpture there, very famous Central Jersey piece. So we looked at the dimensions right here and found the height from that. And then if we go to the Tacony, it's the Tacony Palmyra Bridge. We very much debated, do we say Tacony's tippy top, just to clear up any questions about it. But if I go to website here. Where are my other bookmarks?
Yeah, there were a bunch of people who thought Daydream was wildly different things.
Yeah, I don't
strip
even know. I'm not
clubs
gonna-
and yeah.
Yeah. So we had bridge facts from phillyroads.com, and basically this is the total. Where was it? Highest point of structure above the water, 173 feet. And some people question too, like, is it sea level or whatever? You're close enough to sea level here to where we know, okay, it's gonna narrow the area. And we said the top, thinking that when we think of the top of the bridge, if you're looking at a bridge, what do you think is the top? That was the extent of that one. All right, and then our next clue on day 14, Paul, if you want to show that.
Yep. Right. And this is the pivotal tree falling down that we saw at the beginning of Master's video. And then Jeff, you want to explain the glitch? Alt glitch.
Yeah, the alt history glitch. Batstow at one point was explored as a site for Air Force Base, and they ultimately scrapped Batstow in favor for what we have in Lakehurst and in McGuire in Central Jersey. But Batstow was under consideration, so there could have been a time where, when you're walking out to go check out the old bog iron, you could have instead seen a fighter jet, but did not transpire that way. And then this is the tree that Master and Sister mentioned when they started taking off running in the video, which I cannot wait to watch that video. All right, our next day here on clue 15. So this was I think the train wreck, right, Paul? Yeah.
Yep. Let me turn off. There we go. Yep.
So this is the Midnight Flyer train wreck, and I'm going to in the image here. Yes, as someone pointed out that we hadn't showed a car that was too late, because this train wreck was, I think, in 1922. We had shown this car that was very much wrong. So thank you guys for catching us on that, and in trying to crank the graphic back out. The image slid off the screen, and we ended up updating that too in the other channels. We do need to update that on the website, though, just to show that image move back up. So apologies for that. But we did, we very faithfully recreated the rest of that scene aside from the car there. So this is the layout of two of the three cars. The third car actually would have been out of view behind one of the cars in the veil finder there. But there's a historical photo that shows this location. Someone mentioned the documentary that gives a bunch of information. That was a really great resource for us too. Of course, we grew up, knowing about this train wreck and visiting what we thought was the site, which actually wasn't the site. But now you can find, with the historical imagery, the exact site. You can see the embankments there, and you can see the layout of the wreckage. It happened on a rainy night, and there were people from the area who went out there with lanterns, I guess is what they would have had at the time, and their automobiles to light the scene so that they could see what was going on. It's a really tragic story about what happened, and ultimately fault was placed not on the conductor, but not on the conductor, not on the person in the tower, which I forget what the name of that position is, but it was placed more so on the conductor for going too fast. But it was, I think that was kind of like to spare I wasn't there, so I shouldn't speculate, but a very interesting documentary for anybody who's interested in
Jeff, real quick, I just wanted to point out something that I heard from several people. We were really, really heavy on disaster scenarios with our Veil Finder. The Veil Finder was pretty much only in disaster scenarios.
It wasn't how we planned it from the start. Believe it or not, we have for any one of these, like, I've deleted all the stuff on the side here that I want you guys to see for potential future clues. But we explored 3 or 4 like viable clues for each circle, for each clue type in each circle. So we actually had graphics created for 2 different shipwrecks actually out in the water. We had a few other tragedies that we had that were a while ago, but we had created graphics for, and then we ultimately decided which one to use. And then that's not only tragedies; some of them are like historical moments or discoveries or whatever that is. But we had created these images, and then ultimately, with the way the circle was closing and us, like, if you look at where the circle is. The light blue circle here and where our Veil Finder tool is, this is us saying we want to eliminate as much of the circle as possible now because we want to narrow down the hunt. We don't want it to like take too long. So we don't want people searching Brendan T. Burnell. We don't want people searching, the western third of Wharton and these other parks. We want people to start really honing in on what that right area is.
Real quick, I just want to touch on this, Jeff. Can you just highlight there was a distinct difference between the Blue Comet and the Midnight Flyer, and I know some people are asking about they thought it was Blue Comet.
Oh, sure, in the image here, yeah. So, well, the Midnight Flyer, there were two. There was a curve on the railroad track, and there was another railroad track that was actually lower beneath that, down this embankment. So it happened like in this ravine here. So that is a distinction. In whole, it's the exact placement, recreation of the placement of the images in the historical photo of the Midnight Flyer is correct in the image here. It's the weather, that it was rainy, and that there were the embankments with the cars on the embankment lighting the scene. So that's how you would know. And ultimately, the way that you would confirm that you're in the right location is because once you find it and you look at the little bar on top of the Veil Finder tool, you can orient yourself and say, oh, this image is facing this direction, so I know where north is, and that's how I know that I'm in this one and not one of the other ones.
All right, so let's go back. You want to show the Veil Finder for that day? Oh, you have it. All right, we're good.
Yep. So I don't know why I made this next circle red, but on day 16 the Bortle score. So this was an image. I think what was the clue? What was the riddle, Paul?
Yep.
Bortle score.
A Bortle score that's in the 4s, not east of where bombs drop.
Yeah, we spent too much time focusing on whether to say west or not east. We didn't want people to think it was due west because it wasn't due west. But we wanted to make sure that people stopped looking east of where the bombing range was. And the Bortle score, this is light pollution. I guess the term would be light pollution, or if not another term, but a way of determining where the skies are the darkest. So of course, Wharton they are, but this was our way of eliminating areas again outside of that. And then on day 17, we had our next circle there. I think this was the next glitch, Paul.
I'm pulling it up now. Yep. This is the British burning. Yep.
Yeah. So the British at the Battle of I think it was Chestnut Neck in along near the Molucca River or somewhere down further toward the bay. There was a battle between the British and the militia and the Americans there, and it was known that had the British won that battle, they were going to continue on to Batstow, and they were going to destroy the munitions and the whole operation at Batstow, which was really providing a lot of weapons for the Americans in that war.
All right.
The colonies, I guess, is what they would have called it. The colonies are rebelling. And then and on day 18, which was Saturday, there's where our circle closes again. I'm going to turn off the Bortle score, which again, you can see where we're eliminating parts of the park there, but we'll turn that off. And what was the clue on day 18, Paul? We had the Veil Finder.
Yep, Veil Finder. And that, yep, here, I'll pull it up. Or you could do the, you have the circle there?
Yeah, circle's on. Veil Finder's there if you want to show the image for the graphic. Yep. So this was the canoe. I don't know if the canoe's not the term. The boat that was transporting cannonballs. This was proper location and orientation facing south, and you're facing south because none of the bars up top are lit. So we knew we weren't north, and that was another way to help hone in on what those could mean. But that is the Batstow sawmill on the right there. And we're transporting munitions, which actually would have been behind us and to the left. The way that we're oriented in the image is where the foundry was that was creating those cannonballs, and that was a pretty important part of the war. Yeah,
we actually sometimes we debate these clues incredibly heavily, and we have to call an audible every once in a while. We were pretty set on showing Mullen or Bandit Island for this until we realized that there was a little bit of. Yeah, a little bit of
look up Joe Molnar. Most of it's a myth, which is why we didn't do it. But originally, we actually had a clue for Joe Molnar on Bandit Island, which is down in Sweetwood. It's actually this island here, which is called Rabbit Island. Sorry, I'll zoom out and zoom back and see. So this at the bottom of the circle here. This is why the circle was kept here, because we wanted to do this location, which was called Rabbit Island, but it was called Joe Moliner's Bandit Island. He was like, they called him the Robin Hood of the Pines, but like people made stuff up back in the night. I mean, they still do, but like in the 1900s, like it turns out like he was like a privateer who was hired by the British to do stuff for them, and then he was tried as a traitor actually when the colonies, the America when they found him, tried as a traitor, but he was on the lam for like a long time, and they thought that he and his gang of there was a crew of like 10 people with him. They thought that he stayed on this island and had a little munitions like sheds and stuff out here to feed to the British. But what actually they think happened, if you read some articles like Weird New Jersey or others, they embellish it a little bit or at least post the embellished retellings. But through historical research that we found, not our research, other historians' research, they said it was much more likely that he existed. He hid in the swamps back here with a crew of 10, not a crew of 30. It would have just been too high visibility for him on the island here. It would have been a risk of getting caught. And this gravesite is not his gravesite. He's probably buried like in North Jersey somewhere. And that's a historical marker on the map. It's called that because there's a stone out there. It was a plot of land that he lived on. Could it be his gravesite? Maybe they trucked his body. He was hung on Gallows Hill, which is now a cemetery somewhere in like central or North Jersey. So maybe they brought his body back down and plunked it on his land. But probably this is another fabrication. I'll allow the Jersey Devil. But anyway, so we have the location here.
People want to know what the N means on the top of the Veil Finder.
The N on the Veil Finder was just to show that in the image, if you pull that image back up, Paul.
Yep,
It was to orient the basically the wedges of the pie that we would send every day or every clue with the Veil Finder tool. That's you're knowing that generally is oriented facing north for what we see on the screen there. That was the intent for that. And one thing we learned with this too is that we posted how to use the Veil Finder tool in the clue guide. But what we want to do for future hunts is do like a walkthrough video before the hunt where we just spend a minute and show people how the right way is to use it. We know that a lot of you figured it out pretty quickly. Some of you was, especially if you're not as familiar with Google Earth or something, it might have been a little bit more of a learning curve. So we want to absolutely reduce that part of it in the future, make it as easy and get you to the fun stuff, as quickly as we can. And then day 19's day it was found. Here's our last circle here. You can see we're closing in on Friendship Ruins and Carranza, and Hampton Furnace is now out of the circle there, as is Quaker Bridge. I don't know if the helicopter crash was still in the circle. It would have been close down here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it actually might have been just barely out.
Yeah, and if you want to read the riddle for this day, Paul.
Yep. In the Wading River watershed, northeast of the Black Forest, abreast a bog who drives the slog, will be the one who saw it.
Yeah, so in the Wading River watershed, so here's the map of the watersheds. This is the West Branch Wading River watershed here. So we know that we're on the right half of this line, so we can remove everything that's on the left. We also have other, the Veil Finder tool from Batstow here too has cut off a lot. So we know at this point we're in this narrow slice here. Wading River watershed, northeast of the Black Forest. This whole forest here burned. And I'm sure many or most of you know that that's the case. But beyond where I'm even showing, all this area over here burned down in the Mine Spung fire 2 years ago, maybe a year ago,
Yeah,
2 years ago.
2023.
So we knew that most people would see that. If you look at the maps for where the fire burned, you would know that most of that area is tourist. Clearly, the area where the treasure is, as we've shown in the glitches, is it's not burned. So that's the last clue that we gave. Then you guys got the clue from this morning.
Yep.
So this was If you got that, Paul.
Where's your circle? Yep. There you got it. There we go.
Your circle's closed.
Yep. There we go.
So Yeah, so this clue showed actually the view from along Tuckerton Road there. So we knew that if that was we found like a really funky looking tree, and we thought, okay, if people like find this tree that is covered in all these weird patches of gray stuff, they're this is what you're going to be looking for, and going in. But we also wanted to make sure that we didn't send everybody down this one road, so that's why we kept parts of Carranza Road in there as well. And then the glitch image is at this point we knew. Where everybody knows it's in Wharton. So this is just the historic homes in Batstow with sidewalks and kids playing on them in the front. So by this point, we thought, people know where they are because this is the only park that's left in play. And then if Paul wants to go to the last clue, we'll show our day 21 circle.
Yep, pull it up.
All right, day 21 circle is thrown way south here. So what could possibly have happened to the south here? I'm going to turn on the Batona Trail. So this is the Batona Trail line, and then when we pull up that clue, you'll see that this is the Batona Trail, which is marked in pink blazes, with the area beyond, which we just saw from the polygon that I drew on the screen there. That whole area was burned. Any of you who drove down Tuckerton Road, you saw that was all blackened forest over there. And again, as Paul said earlier, the reason we did this is because if we had focused in for the final circle on any of these places that had a historical marker on the map, it would have been found a week and a half, probably sooner, because there were so few of those places out in the woods. So we wanted to do what we could to make this be a fulfilling hunt and get people out exploring and give us time to make sure we reach out to as many outlets as we can to help get the reward to be higher and higher. So all that stuff's happening behind the scenes. It really is a constant effort to get to that point. And then, of course, we've got the Vale 5 location. Oh, I'm not going to turn that on. Yeah, no, this was Vale 5. Okay, yeah, so this is the 5th hunt. I'm sorry. I almost turned on the next hunt spin. So this is our 5th hunt, which is Vale 3. So this is where that was found here. So just inside the watershed here. And you can see the proximity from the Batona Trail.
You want to turn off the layers so they could see it in relation to Tuckerton there?
Yes, I do want to do that. That's a good thought. Let me turn these off.
It was about 1.5 miles from Carranza. There you go. Yep, Batona ran right there, and we were in off the road by, what did we say? It's
1,000 feet, give or take. One of the fire trails is out here. So once you're, our thinking. Someone had asked earlier. They said they were curious to see why we thought on Friday it would be done, and the reason that we thought that is because once we show the fire trail. There's only one trail that really runs through Wharton. I guess there's some trails by Batstow, but for the most part, there's one big trail, and that's Batona Trail. We thought that people would just start walking the fire trails. We know a number of you did. That's ultimately how Master and Sister found it. Was by walking the fire trails. We know Pope was walking fire trails. We know that a lot of you did go to that route, but we knew that there were like a lot of you out in the park, like maybe over 100 at one point, if not several hundred, based on the number of cars that were out there. So our thinking was we think that a lot of people are just going to turn to the trails, and then it's an odds game, like who's how many people before it's found, and it was found on via that method on Sunday. So that is those are the solves for this hunt. We have a few other quick things we want to talk about our next hunt, which we are super excited to share with you guys. I'm just pulling the list back up here. Paul, do you want to touch on rule changes real quick?
Yeah, so we are implementing a couple rule changes, and we wanted to just bring some clarity on a couple things. So first of all, moving forward, there is absolutely no searching after parks posted hours. Our hunts are only designed now to last between sunrise and sunset. And if a park's hours are more strict than that, if a park's hours are more strict than that, then we revert to that. But yeah, there's no searching at night whatsoever.
We had a number, we know someone posted that in the chat, and then a number of you were DMing us saying that, well, I got permission, and what if I get permission? And we can't have to verify individual private conversations with literally dozens of people. So we don't have a choice in that regard. with everybody sunrise to sunset, unless the park's hours are less than that. And we we tried to have 2 trail cams for this one, and service didn't work. We will absolutely have multiple trail cams going forward to make sure that that we don't want anybody violating the rules, because it's a bad look on us in the game. We want everybody to just have fun in these public places. So that's something we've got to implement going forward.
And then the next thing, so we're going to shift our language a little bit. We're going to refer to this start referring to these as seasons. And so this is season 1, and season 1's end will come at the end of December. And with that change, we're implementing while we're still trying to grow our user base and everything, we want to keep a fair playing field, and so we're implementing a maximum on wins for season 1, and like
you can call it the Pope rule, like it's on.
Yeah, it's the Pope rule. Yeah. So there will be a maximum of 3 wins for Vale hunts, for Vale-sized hunts per season, and also we will be moving to a maximum of 1 city hunt for wins as well. Pope is still eligible for another win, but we're just throwing it out there. We want to make sure we're having an even experience and everybody's enjoying their time, and it's good.
Pope will be the first to tell you that he's good at it. Obviously, Pope's really good at it, and I don't want to say that this is all for Pope. We know that Master put in actually more ground time than literally anyone who we've talked to searching. So we do think that this could also be a Master rule at some point. But the goal is we're just being honest, like we want this to grow for all of you and for us, and the best way to get it to that point, to get larger rewards for everybody, is to have a variety of different people who who can be at that point. But Pope, you have 2 Vale wins to this point, so you keep on gunning for the next. I mean, how many more hunts are we going to do in 2025? Probably not that many. 3 or 4 more ideally. But we've got one more Vale win that you can gun for. Similarly, Doug and Matt have they're tapped out for city hunts now, unfortunately, but you guys are of course more than welcome to join every single Vale hunt.
And Master forward as well is just 1 in on his count.
Yep. And it's something we'll continue to revisit in the future too. Our hope is to do away with it once we have enough people that can go out there searching and really make it like a crazy intense game across the board. And intense in a fun way.
Just answered a couple questions in the chat real quick. It's Google Earth Pro. It's a free program to download online. And then season equals year long. So that's not necessarily what we're saying. We're just saying that season 1 will be ending in December, at the end of December.
Yeah, we haven't finalized that yet, but we view our seasons as likely from March through late November, early December. That's what we're considering at the moment. So there will be a few more this year, but this is we're in season 1 here. One other rule. Not rule, but I guess we've got 5 players who joined Vale 3 within 2 hours. So all 5 of you have already been bumped to Vale 4, which we'll be excited to share with you in literally 1 minute.
Actually, if I just give me 1 quick second here. Mm-hmm. Oh, it always logs me out at the worst times. That's
while Paul's pulling it up, I'll say too that we've gotten messages from a number of you, and we've been trying to respond to all of them. Just saying that you had a really awesome experience, or thanking us, or having suggestions for how we can improve it. We see that we still have some unread ones that we haven't gotten to yet. So if we haven't responded, we're sorry. We're going as fast as we can to get through our end of hunt process and lock things in for the next hunt. So I do promise that we'll respond to you guys within the next day or so. And a merch store. Yeah, we're gonna have a merch store up.
We're gonna have
a merch store
soon.
Merch store is ready. The merch store itself is actually done and ready to go. It just needs to have merch in it. So we're gonna be working on that the next week or 2 here as well.
All right. So the pre-sale's live actually as of this moment. We're doing the hunt for Project Lyra. Jeff, you want to pull up the trophy?
Yeah, I'm gonna dim the lights.
And it's launching in a little over 3 weeks, guys. Give or take, we'll get into it in a minute. But rest up for a little bit. You guys all deserve it.
So it glows in the dark. I'm going to turn the light on in a minute, but this is going to be sick. We don't know TBD if like the one that we put out there is actually going to glow in the dark, because we don't want anybody trying to break the rules. But I'm going to turn the lights on in a second. But we just wanted to show you guys how cool that looks. And let me turn the light back on here. So this is a top secret government energy canister that has fallen out of a government plane and landed somewhere in the woods. All of our clues are going to be catered to that theme. We are going to be all in on trying to beat foreign adversaries from finding this, and it's going to be a really cool series of clues for you guys. We've got the clue holder in the back, which has the code in it, which will explain what that code means. This is obviously not the code that you guys are going to be looking for, but this is the code that we used for an interview that we filmed earlier this week. But this is one that we've been teasing for a while. We're really excited to finally get to jump into and explore that side of it. So this will be Veil 4. Search for Project Lyra. This is what you're going to be looking for, and we're really excited. We're really excited to take like a week to like recuperate, and I'm sure that you all can agree. And then we're really excited to get into it with planning this next time.
And just real quick, if any of you do find it, I would be hesitant to share your code with anyone. Just hinting at future possibilities.
Yeah, and we say that on the card that we put at the site. You definitely don't want to share that.
Yeah, don't share the code.
you don't want to share the code. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so we were just going to open up for a Q&A. If anybody has any questions, we'll try and hit as many as we can. Oh yeah, sorry,
before we do Q&A, let's just show you the circle for Veil 4.
Yep, let me pull it back up.
You pull my screen up. Circle. You mentioned timing already.
It's live. The circle's live on the website.
Circle's live. Okay, so I'll show it here too. So we're zooming out. Our circle for Veil 4 is here. This is the pre-sale circle. We'll release more information about this in the coming days here, but we wanted all of you to see what that is and what you'd be into. If you got into it. We want to say too that we've announced the countdown date. Our countdown date is plus or minus a couple days. It's likely we're going to hold it to that date, but we want to give a little bit of flexibility. And the reason for that is with the last few hunts, we spend weeks and weeks in advance of a hunt trying to secure coverage for that hunt, whether that's media attention and newspapers and bloggers and whatever that is. And there have been a few hunts earlier on where it was planned, the date was locked in, and it just didn't materialize for one reason or another until after our hunt ended. We don't want that to happen again. You guys all saw what happened at the end of Veil 3, as we had a few articles, 4 or 5 or 6 different publications that were talking about how cool it was, and it really drew a lot of attention, and it brought a lot of new players to us, which we're really grateful for. We don't want to miss that opportunity again. So we want to make sure that we're perfect with the timing on this one, even if that means we're shifting by a couple of days. We want to capitalize on it. And we have what I'll say too is that we have a pretty huge interview that's going to be airing nationwide in some point in August, and we want to make sure that we ride that wave, because that's going to be something that we really look forward to with drawing attention for new players for the game and for all of us.
Real quick, just before we move forward, Dan, you should see a purchase pre-sale button like right underneath, and if you're not seeing that, then I need to think about what could possibly be going wrong right now. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Someone said you don't buy it, you find it. Okay, so Paul, I think next on the list is Q&A. I don't know what time it is. 10:30 has been a long one. I told you this one was going to go half an hour. If you guys have any questions, we're happy to take a look. Yeah, it's free to. Yeah, definitely free to sign up and just do the free tier like always. But then there's also anybody who does join the hunt now for the $20 will also get the Edge membership. So that's circle a day early, trail cam history, and all of that other stuff as well.
Refresh your page; it's there. I had the content gating backwards. I apologize.
So while you guys are refreshing, please confirm when you do see it. It might take another minute or two. Sometimes it takes a minute or two for the site to turn over. But if there are any questions, we're happy to hear them. I don't know if Master and Sister are still here, but questions for any of us.
I actually think Master's still here potentially. Let me see.
Is Veil Lyra already hidden? We cannot confirm nor deny if it has been hidden.
Let me just switch us to this real quick. 1 second. No, not that.
Miko's saying, do we think that there's going to be a season finale hunt that is massive? So we are massive.
Master is here. I'm just trying to get his audio back. Sorry. There we go.
Oh,
now I have
awesome.
him.
Awesome. Cool.
All
So
right.
yeah, to answer that question, yes, we do want to have a season finale hunt. We want that to be the biggest and the best and everything. Paul and I are constantly trying to get partners and sponsorships and see if there are brands that are interested. We have finally a good number of you who have signed up. Over 2,000 players are doing this with us, which is crazy. We've got metrics that we're using to try and share with others as to why we would be good people to partner with. So yes, we're focusing our efforts on what that season finale could look like. We do want to have another few hunts before we get to that point, but that's very much part of it, both from a reward standpoint, a scale of the hunt standpoint, also a fun factor standpoint. Like, we had debated holding on to this Project Lyra for the finale, but then we thought, it's fun, let's just do it now, and then we'll figure out something else that's even more fun for the finale.
And just to add on that, I think I just want to touch on, we ended up getting really, this kind of proved our concept, is that we ended up getting a ton of media behind this kind of right at the end here for Veil 3. And so,
the last 3 days, really.
Yeah, the last 3 days we were in the Atlantic City Press, Philly Voice, NJ.com. We were on 2 different radio stations, and we had like a huge bump in users. We were actually gaining, free users like every couple minutes or every minute even for most of the day for the last 2 days. And so that's exactly what we kind of figured would happen if we could just get a little bit of a push behind it. So that's really why we're trying to be intentional about lining up that media for the next hunt. So hopefully we can get that shift earlier and then continue the growth on through and get a more sizable reward and more people.
We had a radio DJ who found our parents' phone number in a phone book. and called our parents. So this was the first time, which is pretty cool. The first time that we had coverage that we didn't initiate or seek out. I know Philly Voice, shared something about us. There were a few. There were some
NJ.com reached out to us.
DJs were doing. Some radio DJs were doing talking about the clues and the hunt and stuff, which is really cool. We had no idea any of that was happening. People just told us that.
Yeah, and we had previously reached out to all those people and nobody ever covered us. And then once they saw the Atlantic City Press get it, they were like, "Oh wait, we want a piece of that."
And I think they saw where the circle was too.
Which is good and it's exciting.
We've got another question for Master, if you're still here, Mr. Master. How many hours did you put in for this hunt?
1 second, Master. Let me just get you. I think you disconnected and reconnected. 1 second, guys. Bear with me. 5 seconds. Master, go ahead and talk.
The
Gotcha.
total hour was basically a full-time job, 45 hours each week.
For each week, 45 hours? Oh my God.
That is correct.
That is crazy.
I promised my son I was going to find this one, so I needed to find it. I'm sorry, everybody, that I made a promise. I had to keep it.
that is awesome. I hope that you look back on this with maybe sore calves, but pride and that you had a fun time out there.
Yes, brought back lots of good memories of living in the woods.
That's awesome. Group hunts. Larissa asked for group hunts. Maybe we make alliances. There are certainly people that go out with friends. We say the more the merrier. Have fun. You've got to be signed up to find it. We hope that we want as many people to join the hunt and pay for those benefits so that the reward gets higher. But we love for whoever wants to meet up and go out there, have fun. Make it a party out there.
Yeah, they're actually for our Philly hunt. The winners were a bunch of guys at a bachelor party, and they stopped what they were doing at the bachelor party to try and solve the clues, and they did. And then also
they flew back, and they went right from the airport actually to the location. To the city hunt location, yeah. And
then we know, we've heard a lot about Pope's crew. Somebody actually creatively named them his Cardinals. So
Pope and his Cardinals.
Pope and his Cardinals. Yeah, so we know that they team up as well. But yeah, so it's definitely a valid strategy. But we're just happy that people are participating.
Yeah, and we someone said, "Will you ever be back to Wharton?" Like, who knows, maybe. But like, what I will say is, we have this dream of doing what we call like a burst hunt, and we don't know if we're gonna get to it in season 1. But like having the circle and having it be a weekend long hunt, and the circle shrinks every hour, and we would like need to partner with a park to like do this because it would just be a ton of people in a park to do it. But hiding loot boxes and stuff in the woods and leaving like big clues out in the woods, like we just see so much potential and how this could be like absolutely incredible. We want to do that. We're focusing on getting it to be what, the best version of what it is for season 1, and then we're thinking about how we can implement that stuff for season 2. And can we share the final coordinates for Veil 3? Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'll post them to the site. I just didn't have time before this.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, and I can even pull them up right now if you want to see it.
Yeah, go for it. 1 second.
Any other questions in the chat there, Paul?
Let me look. There's your coordinates are up now.
Post hunt meetup I would love to do like a Veil meetup at like, I don't know where is the most centrally located for everybody. I feel like this is always like a fantasy football challenge that we have, is where are you going to hold the draft? where are you going to hold the draft?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, find a location. We love the Pick. The Pick's great. Pick has great wings, best wings on the planet. But there's certainly plenty of places that we would be happy to visit. We want it to be as easy of a trip for as many of you as we can. But we could bring some of our other you could bring the energy canister and the Veil treasure. Maybe that's something we look at doing this fall.
Somebody had asked about the trail cam and how it's powered and Wi-Fi, satellite, all that stuff. What we will say is it is battery powered, and we very strictly use Duracell batteries. We're trying to get them to sponsor us because they last significantly longer.
Yeah, unless Energizer wants to throw us a bone, but no, we're all in on the Duracell train.
Yeah, we're all in on the Duracell train.
We would love to be an ad for Duracell.
But that being said, and we're reevaluating a plan to have, we're looking into satellite options and stuff, but it's a little bit of a slippery slope there. There's not many options, and we have to have something super reliable. So it's better for us to just plan around better cell service. It's just easier.
Yeah. So I'll read the coordinates here, and then we'll mention merch. So latitude 39.75, 3180. Longitude -74.62, 7560. And merch, the store is actually up and ready to go and ready to accept payment and from people who want to purchase stuff, but it's lacking the merch part of it. So we'll have it in the next week or two. I'll create that. We'll review a bunch of options with Paul, and the two of us will put out what we think is our best stuff. We know a few of you have actually reached out to us asking if you could design merch for us. If you have thoughts, we would be happy to receive it. We're not, I do this professionally, like in my other day, in my day job, not my other job, my day job. So I'm looking forward to designing some stuff. But if anybody wants to send it, and we do think it's something we want to use, we'd be happy to talk to you and figure something out. But it just takes time. Wrapping up running these hunts, especially one when there's some technical challenges like the trail cam, and winding it down and then starting up the next hunt. There's like so much that has to happen that we have never actually even spoken about, like beyond the stuff that we've even spoken about. So we're just getting to that point now.
Jeff, somebody had asked,
but soon, in the next couple of weeks, yeah.
Somebody had asked, what do we consider, that the Jetport touched on? Was it based on full development proposal or just that specific part where the runways?
The view of that glitch, so that the part of the Jetport that touched Wharton, that's actually I closed out Google Earth. The part of the Jetport that touched Wharton is actually very only a little bit of the Jetport, and that whole complex actually touched Wharton. So once I get Earth back up, I'll show you. That's the reason why we didn't use the development of the city or any of the other stuff that was proposed. It had to be just the runway where the Concords were. So that's why we showed that.
Guys, I will post the coordinates in the Discord right after this, so you all have them. Let's see. Use the lithiums.
I think I had the jet. I might have even had the Jetport on here.
You have it. You have it overlaid on there. I know it's there because I've seen it.
It's somewhere in here.
Yeah, I
Might have deleted
know. I know Obsessed Jared has like a map he's updating constantly of treasure hunts and where they're found, so we don't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
And then really, while Jeff's looking for that, the last thing, we're
I don't have it.
always listening and looking, reading the Discord and listening to your guys' feedback and reading emails. And, we really care about your opinions and what you guys say. And we want to make sure we're doing stuff that everybody as a community can enjoy. And so just keep sending us that feedback. We aren't perfect. We're trying our best to make these really, awesome hunts. And so it's only our 5th one. There's still a little bit of trial and error there. But after each hunt, we kind of regroup and we try to pull some lessons from each one and adjust from there. And so, we're doing that now with this one and trying to improve each one as we go along. So bear with us, but we're going to continue pushing out hopefully really fun stuff for everybody.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. I do see one last question there. Jersey Devil generally accepted to be a Pinelands creature, and I want to say that in the reading and the research you can do, it's all fake because like obviously he's not real, but generally that's the range of the Jersey Devil. But it is very true that in 1908, 1909 there were people who claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil in Pennsylvania when that craze was happening and when they closed schools. So there's certainly like some gray area to it, but generally accepted that the Jersey Devil's home turf is the forest. And maybe one day we'll put a Jersey Devil out there and put a little veil on him, and and that can be one of our rallying points. So thank you guys so much. We're so appreciative. Like Paul said, we're so grateful for you guys and the community that you have here. We get a little sad in between hunts when the Discord's not popping like how it's during the hunts. It's something that we really miss is just the positivity and the camaraderie. And for those of you who are planning on coming and joining us again for another hunt, we're again, thank you enough. We can't thank you enough. And for those of you who I know some of you have expressed that you want some improvements with clues and stuff, we've constantly are taking that feedback and trying to fine tune it. So we hope you'll hang with us along for the ride, and we're going to put out another one that has maybe not our blood, but certainly our sweat and tears in it, and we're going to give you guys the best that we absolutely positively can for every hunt. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, bye everybody.
Thank you, Master and Sister.
Yeah, thank you, Master and Sister. And thank you, Hot Diggity Dog.
Yeah, thank you, Hot Diggity Dogs. All right, take care, everybody. Yeah. Buy your
there
dog.
we go. I'm putting that on. All right, see you guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.